finishing powders and setting powders can pretty much used in the same way. Hey guys, welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be pretty much talking about setting powders, finishing powders, the difference between the two, how do you use them, can you use them together, do you need to use them separately. There is no right or wrong answer when it comes to setting and finishing powders, to be honest. I mean, I have over a dozen different types of powders. I use them all in different ways. But one thing I did find out is powders come in many different shapes, sizes, compacts, high-end, drugstore, luxury, mid-range. I mean, there's a powder for everyone, to be honest, there really is. So basically, what's the difference between a setting powder and a finishing powder? Well, a setting powder and finishing powder are both types of powders used in makeup application, but they serve different purposes. So setting powder is used after applying foundation or concealer. Typically, I mean, sometimes I apply a setting powder after, you know, just using a primer or even a moisturizer. But anyway, they're there to help set the makeup in place and prevent it from creasing, melting or transferring. So many people also use setting powders to help control shine, oiliness on the skin. Setting powder is typically applied using a powder brush or sponge and should be blended evenly across the face. It is usually available in a translucent form or in shades that match various skin tones. Now, finishing powder, on the other hand, is applied after setting powder and provides a final touch to the makeup look. Now, how many times have you actually received a finishing powder and applied it as a setting powder? And it virtually does the same thing. Okay, maybe the hold isn't that great. We'll get into the different types of powders and what they do in a minute, but I sometimes use finishing powders as setting powders. So finishing powder usually contains light reflecting particles that give a luminous and airbrushed finish to the skin. Finishing powder can also help to blur imperfections, smooth out the skin and provide a natural looking glow. It is usually applied using a fluffy powder brush or puff, and it can be translucent or have a tint. So really, to sum it up, while setting powder is used to set and mattify makeup, finishing powder on the other hand is used to give a bit of a subtle glow, and that's pretty much it. So let's get into the different types of powders that I've actually got. Okay, the first product I'm going to start off with, and one that I actually had a single compact of but totally used it up, is these ones here, these guys right there. So if I bring it up a little bit closer, basically we're looking at finishing powder soft and light and finishing powder filtered light. So these basically, these two here, are the ones that I use to pretty much finish and set my makeup. I mean, Hourglass is a brand that offers a variety of finishing powders, including the ambient lighting powder, which features a range of shades that mimic different lighting conditions to enhance the skin's natural beauty. Other popular Hourglass finishing powders include the Veil Translucent Setting Powder, which is this one here, and I actually had a full one of these ones as well, but I actually totally used it up as well. And for the life of me now, I just can't find it. Where are you hiding? Oh, here you go. So this one here, with this one here, it provides a matte finish and helps to control oil and shine. And the Ambient Lighting Edit Palette, which includes a selection of finishing powders, which is this one here. This is the Ambient Lighting Edit Ghost Unlock palette, and I actually just use this shade. Hourglass powders can be used to set and finish the makeup look. And also, powders come in loose and pressed powder forms. You can get them loose or pressed. There's also a lot of setting powders, for example, the Kosas. So this one here is the Cloud Set, and I've got the shade Feathery. This is meant to set and blur. You either love it or you hate it. I actually really love this just for setting the face, mattifying, blurring, does a really good job of that. Also excellent as a powder to be used over the eyelids just before or after setting your primer. I find it works really well just to, you know, go over the primer with a little bit of this powder. The Cloud Set is another favorite of mine, and all the powders I'm going to be showing you today are pretty much ones that I do love, but some of them I just don't use so much. Moving on, we're going on to a drugstore brand, which is Rimmel. This is the Kind and Free, and this one here is the translucent in number 1, and it's just a white powder. This is actually a mattifying powder and it's translucent. So just give you a bit of a swatch of that. It does come out white, but on the skin, once blended, it really does just do an excellent job of mattifying the skin and setting the face. So I wouldn't use this typically as a finishing powder because it doesn't really have any sort of particles in there to give you a glow. If you suffer from oily skin or combination skin and you just really want to make sure your makeup stays put all day, this one here is excellent. Now this one here is actually called a setting powder. This is the Glow, the Halo Glow setting powder by e.l.f. This shade that I've got here is called Light, and with this it's actually got bits of shimmer particles in it. So I'll just give you guys a look. I don't want the powder to go everywhere, but I'm just blending that out. It's definitely visible on the skin, but there is little tiny flecks. You won't be probably able to see them here on the camera because they're that tiny. Now again, this is a product you either love or you hate. I actually love this product. It is excellent at setting the face, but I actually find this to be better as a finishing powder more so than a setting powder. But then again, setting, finishing, if it's got no particles in it, you could pretty much call it a setting powder. If you've got a setting powder which has fine particles in it, you can call it a finishing powder. You can use both. Some people will use a setting powder and a finishing powder together, or they'll use 2 finishing powders on their face, depending on the type of finish that's in there. So, I mean, you could debate this, but why? Why would you? It's powder. You can use it any which way you like. You can use it to bake. I personally don't bake my makeup. You know, each to their own, I suppose. This one here, Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. This is the shade medium. I've actually hit pan on this. This is a gorgeous powder. I would call this a definite setting powder, but it could also be a finishing powder, however you choose to use it. It's got a beautiful finish to it. There's no glitter in it, there is no shine. It just pretty much gives you, so if you've got like a bit of shiny makeup, this will mattify, but it won't look masky, it won't look chalky. I find this absolutely beautiful to use even under the eyes. The Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder is absolutely beautiful. Definitely one that I will always get. This one I haven't actually tried. It's the Hyaluronic Terry Hydra Powder. Sorry guys, I'm not going to be able to open this up because it's, I just can't seem to get the lid off. But anyway, the powder's in there. It's pretty much a setting powder. I'd say it's very close to the Makeup Forever HD powder, although I haven't really seen any reviews on this powder, and I know that this has absolutely amazing reviews, even though really I haven't actually used the Makeup Forever high definition ultra powder. Take it out of the box so we can have a little look. So pretty much similar in size. It's a white powder, it's a setting powder. I mean, they're going to do the same thing. It depends, I suppose, on the type of finish. Some might be more finely milled than others, and it's all just a matter of preference. I would say that these are probably roughly the same price. Maybe this might be a little bit more. By Terry is definitely a luxury high-end brand, and Makeup Forever is your high-end brand as well. So but I do think that this one is more luxury focused, so would be probably a little bit more expensive than this Makeup Forever powder. And I really am curious to see what you guys use as powder and which ones you think work really well. And moving on, I've also got this little One Size Beauty. It's a little mini translucent powder, and I have used this before and I absolutely love it. It is so finely milled. It really does remind me of the Hourglass powder. Not just because they are similar in size, just because I'm showing you this here, but this powder really is so similar to the Hourglass and a lot more affordable in my opinion. So if I had to repurchase these powders, what would I get again? I'd get the one size over this one because they're pretty much identical. So if you want a dupe for the Hourglass translucent powder, check this one out by one size. Really is excellent. So two little gems right there, but this one is more of a gem in my opinion because you get to save a lot of dollars. So there's that. Now moving on to Pat McGrath Labs. This one here is the under eye blurring powder, and I've got the shade Light, and basically it is a blurring under eye powder. This is absolutely wonderful for setting your concealer and also for pretty much, yeah, just, you know, setting your concealer. It can be used as a finishing powder. This does come in a bigger size for the face, which I don't have. But as an under eye powder, which really does help to set the concealer under the eyes, this is a winner in my books. It is very soft. Mine hasn't actually cracked yet, but it's such a beautiful, beautiful finely milled powder. It's so soft. Like, when I say soft, it's so soft. Like, it's beautiful. It's like dipping your finger in, I don't know, like cornstarch, but even softer than cornstarch. So Pat McGrath, and I still have heaps of this left, and it's a very expensive powder but totally worth it. And yeah, I can't say anything more about the fact that this is just an amazing product to work under the eyes. This one here by Rimmel, the Be Kind and Be Free, yes, it's white and it's similar to the Pat McGrath Labs. I reckon it's its dupe. I reckon it's the Pat McGrath dupe because although it isn't as smooth as the Pat McGrath Labs powder, it does the same finish. It really does the same finish. If not, it's a little bit more concentrated. That's the only difference. So if you're looking for a dupe for the Pat McGrath under eye blurring powder, the Kind and Free translucent powder by Rimmel is excellent. The Dior Backstage powder, this is in the shade Natural. So this was gifted to me by a friend. I had to use it. Now, is it my favorite? No, it's not. It actually kind of blurs the skin too much to the point where I feel like it's soft to use. I mean, it's got a lovely texture to it, but I find that I really got to dig my brush in there, and it's not even hard panned. I just find I got to dig my brush in there to let it show up on the skin. It's kind of, I don't know, I want to be able to see something going on my skin, and I find I have to work really hard to get the product out. And the finishing of it is pretty, but it's overhyped. I think this product is a little bit overhyped, and in my opinion, there's a whole lot more other powders that are better than the Dior Backstage face and body powder. But look, it's great. I mean, you can use it just simply over moisturizer if you're having one of those days where you just want to use moisturizer, or even just like a bronzed little primer. You could put this over on top and it does a good job. I mean, but it's just, yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this one. I think it's overhyped, to be honest. So that's the Dior Backstage face and body. The Laura Mercier, this is the loose setting powder, and it's in the shade Translucent. Now, she also has a loose setting powder with the one with the glow. I don't actually have this one, but this one has been used and is well loved, although I haven't used it in years. And I think with powder, they tend to last a very long time. I mean, there are expiry dates on there, but typically powders will last you forever if you keep them in a good sort of cool compartment. They'll last forever. It's a great finishing powder and setting powder in one. So the Laura Mercier, you get a huge amount. I've had this for years. I've used it a lot. I actually have the what is it, that white powder, the real famous one, which I can't find anywhere. Actually, I'm going to go get it. Okay, I just had to pull it out. I remembered that I had this in another drawer. It's the RCMA No Color Powder. This is a very, very, very hyped up product. Is it worth the hyped up recommendation of a powder for all makeup artists in the world? Yes, I would have to say so. Do I use it? No. You can tell that I haven't used it because it's pretty much full. And why haven't I used it? Well, I remember I actually got this in a lucky bag, a Beautylish lucky bag, long time ago, and I was so excited to get it. But pretty much the description of this is the perfect universal setting powder for all skin types. No color powder contains absolutely no pigment, no perfume, no fillers, and will never alter your foundation, shade, or natural skin tone. It will set your makeup with a flawless finish that won't cause flashback. And the ingredients are talc and silica. Talc and silica, which those are pretty dangerous words maybe to use these days. No, I'm kidding. But you know, there is some talk about talc and silica at the moment, especially with silica lately causing some health concerns. But look, do your research. I don't believe that this has got any asbestos in the talc. As a matter of fact, I think all the makeup that I have that has talc in it is pretty much safe to use. Again, there are some people who are allergic to silica and talc, so yeah, you just got to do your research and see how things go. But now I have two by Exo Beauty, which are finishing powders, and oh, you can see my camera in the reflection. I'll just open them up, and these ones are well loved. This one here is Lucent, and this one here is Aurora. Now, the one that I use the most is Aurora, because I find it's got a little bit more shimmer in it as a finishing powder. This one here I use more of as a highlighter. So, but they are both finishing powders, and I wouldn't say that they're setting powders, but they are just more so finishing powders, and they are absolutely beautiful. So I don't know if any of you guys have tried the Exo Beauty brand before, but really lovely products. So these are two winners in my book, which I actually do still use. Excellent product by Ilia. It's a loose powder, and this one here is called the Face Into You powder. I'll show you guys on the back there. It's a translucent powder and actually pairs really well with the Ilia skin tint, not the second one that they came out with, but the very first one with the dropper, because I used to find that the Ilia skin tint used to, I don't know, it had a lot of glow, but it also left my skin a little bit tacky. This powder on top is absolutely beautiful. So it comes like that. It's very sheer, and it's very translucent. I don't know if they actually still make this. I would hope so, because this is my actual second purchase of this Ilia Face Into You powder. It's absolutely wonderful. I love it. The next one that I've got is the Mecca Max Banana Bake, and this one is a skin filter. And basically it says, go bananas for this yellow toned matte finishing powder that corrects, filters and perfects for ultra glam selfie ready skin. This one here I've hit pan on, and the reason I've hit pan on this is pretty obvious. It's a gorgeous powder. I use this pretty much on top of my moisturizer. I don't actually use it over foundation at all. I use it as a powder to pretty much put over bare skin. And when I say bare skin, I'm talking either sunscreen or a primer, moisturizer, because it just has a beautiful, leaves your skin feeling smooth and hydrated. Just an excellent product to use before putting on other powders, or even under liquid or cream blushes. A winner in my book. Really great. Love this powder. Now next we've got baked foundations. Now these can actually also be used as a setting powder depending on how you choose to do the application. This one's by Anika. It's pretty much just a baked mineral foundation. It's very smooth. Like, you can't really see the color because it's obviously translucent, but one of those products where you can sort of use it for everything, like foundation, setting powder, finishing powder. It's pretty much an all-in-one. So this one here by RMS is the luminizing powder, and it's in the shade Scarlet Peach. It's a finishing powder with a tint. I haven't really used this much. Actually, I've used it on my eyes as eyeshadow. It is pretty much, I'll show you the shade. It's pretty much a very soft peachy color. I've gone quite heavy with the application there, but with a big fluffy brush, swirl it all around and you'll get like a beautiful finish to the face. So the RMS Illuminizing Powder is also a beautiful product to use when you just want to have a little bit more. Now the final product that I'm going to be talking about is the Guerlain Meteorite. This is the shade 4 D'Or. This is my second jar. I used up the first one. It was pretty much the original. It was the green one with the green balls and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, used it all up a very long time ago. This one here is more your bronzing and rose toned balls. It is supposed to be used as a finishing powder, setting powder, a blush. You can use it any which way you like. The smell is divine. Oh my goodness, I love that violet scent. I mean, this is absolutely beautiful. And the way I use this, you get a little powder puff with it. I actually just shake it all up like that. And then what I actually do, I take the powder puff off and then I give it a good shake, and then I use the back of the powder that's left on there. Look, I'll show you. Well, I actually just coated my powder puff with all that powder there, as you can see. But, you know, if you took the powder puff off and you gave it a good shake, all the powder would end up on the back of this little lid. And just these guys, honestly, show you the back there, if you can read it. The Meteorite is a product of Glam. It is a product of Glamour. Glamour. It's a luxury product. You either love it, you either hate it. I'm one of these people that love this. I have it sitting on my little table with all my fancy little makeup jars that I like to sort of look at and never use. Which reminds me I need to use this up. So you don't want it to go completely off. So that's the Meteorite in the shade 4 D'Or. Guys, that is all I have for you today. I know that I have some other powders lying around in other drawers which I probably haven't spoken of. So please let me know what setting or finishing powders that you love using. Is there one that you would recommend that I pick up and try? I love powders. I didn't want to get the Charlotte Tilbury one. I thought it was just, I don't know, I just thought there were too many reviews where they were actually saying there's just too much sparkle in the powder, and kind of put me off, so I didn't pick up the Charlotte Tilbury powder at all. Is there any other powders that I can think of that I thought I would want to pick up? No, not really. I am pretty happy with all the powders that I've pretty much got. I just wanted to summarize that finishing powders and setting powders can pretty much used in the same way, depending on just the type of finish and what's in it. Just remember, finishing powders might have a little bit of, you know, particles in there that make your skin glow, and setting powders are pretty much, you know, they don't have that sparkle in it. They're just there to set the makeup and maybe act as a buffer for putting on cream, you know, cream blushes or another powder product on top. Also is excellent for using, you know, these powders to, you know, dial down some blushes that might have been applied too heavily. They're excellent to be used on the eyes as transition shades. Yeah, I don't know, I could go on and on with finishing and setting powders, but don't get yourself worked up. When you see a powder, it's a powder. However you choose to use it, you use it in the way you want, and at the end it's all about marketing and packaging and obviously ingredients are something that you should look into before you purchase. Having said that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.